Recording. What Brushel noticed. When I arrived at the studio, Mr. Measham was at his desk. He seemed to be writing a letter, but he quickly sealed the envelope. Well, I know I don't want to see him. Hopefully he won't show up again in this case. I thought nothing of it at the time, of course. Now that I think about it, what if he was writing a suicide note? Wow, that's quite the jump. A suicide note? Yes, he had this look on his face. A man's face inscrutable as a quadratic equation, end quote. He looks like, yeah, it's funny because Kit said he looks kind of like an emaciated, oh God. The guy from Street Fighter, I already forgot. Go. Guile, that guy, because he's got his hair. Yeah, quiet. Suicide, poor Mr. Measham. But that means Vera's innocent. Someone commits suicide in the middle of an interview? Oh. Very well, you may begin your cross-examination. Also, how are you doing, Ellie? Cross-examination. Yeah, but... Hold it! Don't do Guile like that. It's just mean, I know, but like, he's the one with the hair. So he put the letters away when he saw you. Early reporter gets the worm, end quote. That's my secret. I'm not sure I follow. It's the night of the interview. I arrive 15 minutes ahead of schedule. They handle turns, the door opens, and I barge in. That's bad, actually. Drinking Pepsi that tastes like... Wait, why does it taste like grape? Did you guys get grape Pepsi? Are you sure that's okay to do? I mean, isn't that unlawful entry, really? Mr. Measham sure seemed to think so. You should have seen him. He crammed his letter into that yellow envelope as fast as he could. I know a secret when I spot one, and that was one. Does seem significant. Well, Mr. Justice? No wonder. It does have the ring of something important. Add to testimony. Defense finds this testimony vital, Your Honor. Very well, please add it to your testimony. You don't know why? It just... I'm sorry. Are you okay? Does everything taste like grape? Ellie, did something happen? Did your 5G shot make your taste buds change to grape? It tastes like a real grape flavor? Oh, no. Well, is that bad or is it just weird? I remember a brother gave me like strawberry Coke and it tasted not good. Did not taste good at all. Hey, why not? My account comes free of charge. There's a yellow envelope. I heard it was left at the crime scene. Hold it. You don't like a Pepsi tasting like grape? Okay. And you saw him seal this yellow envelope with the letter. Hey, don't look at me like that. I saw what I saw. Oh, you think this might be our big break? Yeah. What I need is to show some decisive evidence now. I will. Yeah, was it? Was it a yellow envelope or was it perhaps a red envelope? Objection. Shit. Objection. Man, why couldn't it do it with the cool one? Objection. Objection! Thanks. As it so happens, there was a single letter in a desk drawer at the scene. In a red envelope. Whoa! What's that? I hate this band. What? Actually, from a real grape in Japan, they're real grapes. So that, oh, I hate that. Oh, I don't like that at all. Prosecutor Gavin. Yes? Was a yellow envelope found at the scene of the crime? Unfortunately, no. But forehead, it's easy to mistake the color of an envelope. I guess, but not this envelope. You see, it was postmarked already, 7 years ago. Well, Mr. Brushel, I can explain that. Drew, right? He wanted to get that letter into an envelope pronto. Get it out of sight of my beady eyes, right? So he grabbed the nearest envelope and crammed away. And what about the whole red and yellow envelope contradiction, chump? Candy with your oh, man. Well, Mr. Justice, have you anything to say to the witness's claim? That night, the victim put a letter he had been writing in a red envelope. No, because he wasn't writing a letter. That letter had already been written. It's impossible. That's impossible. Ah, I like your expression. So full of confidence. Thinking real fruit tasted like candy. Yeah, it's weird. Oh, did you know that here, they might do it in other places too, Ellie. They have something called a grapple here, which is literally just an apple that has like grape juice in it. I think like injected in it or something. It's very strange. Oh, it's simple, really. Yeah, like inject. I think it's injected in there. Let me look it up really quick. Grapple. No, not like grapple with 2 P's. Is grapple a fruit? It looks like an apple and tastes like a grape. According to Snyder Bros, the inventor of grapple, the fruit is made by taking Fuji apples, and dunking them in a bath of Concord grape flavor. It's not even grape juice. Meet the grapple, an apple made to taste like a grape. Methyl anthranolate also is a good bird repellent. Farmers spray the fragrance to keep birds away from apple and cherries. Oh, it's an artificial grape flavor called, methyl anthranolate. It's USA and FDA approved. Of course it's FDA approved. They would approve poison if it didn't kill you right away. If you want a grape juice, well, because people like weird things. Oh, it's pronounced like grape hole, not grapple. So it's supposed to be grape, and then, yeah. Okay, yeah. So I thought they injected it, but I guess they just bathe it in it. I don't know. I mean, either way. So yeah, that's a grape hole. I thought it was a grapple. It's a grape hole. Hair was like going down. Why do I feel like I'm so low on the chair? Here's my normal. Yeah, exactly. That's what I do too. I usually get green grapes because the red ones are a little bit like red and purple are very sweet, and I like the slight like sourness of green grapes. Okay. As it just so happens, the defense team investigated the contents of this envelope with the assistance of a forensic scientist. What? Note that this letter is addressed to Drew Measham. Oh? Why would he address a letter to himself? Let alone send a suicide note to himself. Yeah, I've been scooped. Yeah, you have. You dumb broad. Order. Mr. Brushel, can you explain this to the court? Oh, my. How could I have forgotten? I suppose this happens to the best of us. Reporter gets old, forgets lots. End quote. I'm still waiting for an explanation, Mr. Brushel. Yeah. He probably is lying super hard. Well, that's the thing, see? After he put his letter in that envelope, Mr. Measham sat there searching his desk drawer for, something. His desk drawer? Yes, a stamp, a so-called postage stamp, end quote. A stamp, whatever for. Well, to mail his letter, what else? And then, why, yes, I think I saw him put it in his letterbox. Yes, it was a yellow envelope and he put it in that box. Well, apparently this yellow letter has nothing to do with the case. Oh, how I wish it did. Just think that if it were a suicide note. What a story. I hate this guy. Yeah, everybody in this game lies on the stand until we get them to not lie on the stand, but who cares about laws, I guess? Star writes suicide note in front of a reporter, falls, end quote. As I was saying, that has nothing to do with the case. Yeah, I wish we could just, like I already said, I have a list of characters in this game that I want to die. It's most of them. That said, yes, Your Honor, it makes me wonder about the contents of that red envelope. Yeah, depositing, confirming transfer of money, blah, 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 because he's a forger. 100,000 is quite a good deal of money. So this was from 7 years ago, yeah? Oh God, I hate it. If it doesn't, if you want to write their names in it, yeah, I'd be appreciative of that, actually. So am I finished here? Am I finished here? I was thinking of, going home to start writing. Oh, he just keeps doing it. It just keeps going. It doesn't stop. I have tried cotton candy grapes. They are very sweet, though. I hate to state what it should be pretty obvious to anyone, but when you catch the scent of a story, you make that, rather unique face. Come on. Attorney has active imagination, little else, end quote. Wow, rude. Even I noticed something, and my eyes aren't what they used to be. Even I noticed something, and I am just the biggest idiot. I fixed that for you, Judge. Yeah, sniff out a scoop. Yeah, it's hard. Yeah, follow your nose, sir. I'm starting to understand what all this perceiving stuff is about. Judge has active imagination, end quote. Please continue with your testimony. Tell us about the scent of a story. Hey, I'm the one asking the questions here, usually. Not in the courtroom, you dumb bastard. Actually, it took a bit of work to get a thumbs up on the interview. Reporter leverages story, gets his interview, end quote. The story concerned a certain case from 7 years ago. That red envelope probably had something to do with it. Say what you will, but Drew's talent was without compare. Yeah, maybe. Toucan Sam. Except it's Brewcan Brushel. I don't know. Something that rhymes. So you threatened to go to the press with this story. That's how you got your interview? Blackmail? Well, yes. No. No. It wasn't exactly black. I'm not. Where are we going with this exactly? Something wrong, Mr. Brushel? Are you perhaps a closet racist? Well, look. And this is my story, my tidbit. Journalist info is livelihood, end quote. I see. While you have me chatting away in here, what's going on out there? What if some Wally Wordsworth or Sally Scooper gets wind of my story? They could be going to press while I'm going to waste. Court feels your pain, Mr. Brushel. Mr. Justice, let's pick up the pace. No! Fuck this guy! He's a dumb bastard. A certain case 7 years ago. Wait, 7 years ago? Where have I heard that before, other than like 50,000 other times in this game? The scent of a story. I hate like all of his expressions. Oh, my bracelet. I just realized. Wait, Drew's talent. What talent, though? Is he talking about his art talent or his forgery talent? Click the bracelet. Which part of you am I supposed to be looking at? I hate most of it. Should I be looking at his dumb neck? Oh, God. I'm trying to see something change. Oh, hi, Anna. Welcome back. Where's his other hand? Wait, maybe it's this hand. Everything about this man looks like exactly the same. Wait. Wait, is this guy sweaty? Oh! Ew! 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 He's sweaty! What? How are you supposed to notice the tiniest? He's sweaty. He's a sweaty boy. Nope, no great. Okay. Gotcha! You nasty bitch! Wow. Sweat much, Mr. Brushel? Yeah, well, a man can't help his glands, you know? Wow, haven't heard that one before. You better learn to control those glands, there's a young lady present. It's more than that. When Mr. Meesham's talent was mentioned, you suddenly began to sweat buckets. Yak! You're hiding something about his talent. What? That's ridiculous. Evidence time. Let's show where Mr. Meesham's true talent lay. Just so happens I have the evidence showing the talent mentioned in that letter. Take that. Take that. Toothbrush must be this whole body must be fumigated. This painting was found in Mr. Meesham's studio. There are two problems with this painting. The first is it wasn't painted by Mr. Meesham. The second is that there was another painting in the studio which looked exactly like this one, except it was only half done. Then we have a letter discussing a payment of $100,000, which suggests a certain business operation. The business of making forgeries. Great, yeah, he's dead. He's just dead. Yeah, no, that's what she told me too. And honestly, I had forgotten about that because we learn a lot of things in English class that we never learn again throughout our lives. And the thing is, when I look at something, I look at it logically rather than how English looks at things. And to me, that sentence just looked like it could be 3 different answers because it doesn't pinpoint the subject in any specific way other than grammatically the noun and the adjective being right next to each other. But yeah. So you could see it both ways, but yes, the correct way is what Ellie pointed out to you. Although, if I read that sentence, I'd be like, anybody could be drunk in this situation. Everyone, please, everyone, can we keep this private? Please? This is my story, my scoop. Forgery, that's a serious crime. Drew Measham is known as an artist these days, but there were rumors he dabbled in another kind of art until a few years back. Another art meaning forgery? Drew Measham was talented, all right. Talented at making precise, detailed fakes. A fact that certain criminal elements were quick to discover. Criminal elements? What? You can't seriously be talking about... Exactly, I'm talking about forging evidence. The rumor started circulating 7 years ago. 7 years ago? So are we to understand that this letter, this payment of $100,000 was for? Exactly. Forged evidence nets tidy profits. End quote. No, what? I wasn't gonna ask you what that was from, but I was assuming it was a school-related thing. Order, order, order. Why? It's like our victim was living a double life. Aha, this is my chance. So the victim had ties to the criminal world, right? He could have had plenty of enemies we know nothing about. This is my first time hearing of this criminal world. We certainly found no criminal connections when we conducted our investigation. But how do you explain all this money? You have to admit there's a possibility of some illegal activity here. But there's no proof tying this letter to our case. Our case was and remains simple from the beginning. Only the defendant could have poisoned that mug that night. And you, of course. Hey, the only thing I poisoned is my pen when I'm writing reviews. What? Well, it's okay. Ellie hates it when I even get her, like, random things, so I don't think she'd be willing to take payment from me. Mr. Brushel, your testimony to this point has been quite unreliable. It doesn't speak well of your reporting acumen. What are you talking about? My journalism is rock solid. Journalism so solid you could stand an elephant on it, end quote. Also, hi, RC. In any case, let's hear a summarized recap of your testimony. If we can ascertain the situation in that studio from the recap, the trial is over. Apollo, what's he talking about? The cross-examination showed that Mr. Brushel didn't have a reason or means to poison him. As long as there's no other suspects, then the killer had to be Vera. That's what. Yeah, what? No, it's not. You were playing Minecraft? This next testimony is our last chance. Mr. Brushel, your testimony, please. Mr. Brushel sucks dick. Interview, a recap. The only other person in the studio that night was the defendant. It was Vera who poured the coffee. She's admitted as much herself. The only thing that touched Drew's lips during the interview was that mug. And nothing left that studio after he died. Nothing. Clearly, the only one who could have poisoned him was his daughter. Your English is the wrong English? My English is good, just my handwriting is terrible. And if you ask about the basic, like, understanding of English, I learned that shit like 20 years ago, so I don't remember most of it. I just know that I put words together and it works. Like, when Ellie was teaching English in Japan, there were a few times she came to me with things and I was like, I'm gonna have to look that up because I don't even remember how exactly to explain that. Nice testimony, clear, succinct, and without room for doubt. Ah, shucks, you really think so? I believe this clarifies the situation that night. Very well, Mr. Justice. You may begin your final cross-examination. Right. Still have one trump card left to play. And I won't let this trial end until I use it. This is taking out. I mean, I'm reading everything that's going on. Interview, a recap. Okay. Yeah, it was the defendant. It was there who poured the coffee. Yeah. Hold it. Hold it. Not one thing? You're sure? Yep, as sure as can be. Well, with one exception. One exception? What? Journalist Spark Brushel does interview, leaves studio, end quote. Come on. It's a joke, get it? Not funny, I know, but still. You just know they're supposed to be, yeah, exactly. It's something leave the studio that night. Why does that sound familiar? Where have I heard something like that before? Now that we've proven our witness is a comedian of sorts, I'd like to turn to our defense attorney before returning to the testimony. Do you have any idea what, if anything, might have left the studio that night? One thing. I think one thing might well have left the studio that night, actually. A certain something that has vanished from the crime scene. By which you mean something other than our witness? Of course. Don't tell me, Vera Misham. Believe me, any comic relief I may provide is entirely unintentional. As long as the exam doesn't ask you why, you can probably do. Exactly, yeah. If it just asks you to form, like, competent sentences, I can do that, and some. If it asks you why this adjective is here, or why the noun being right next to something makes it that, I don't know. That's just weird English shit. See what you got for us, Mr. Justice. Well, the thing wasn't at the scene of the crime, so you can't show it to you, but I do have evidence that shows how it could have been taken from the scene. Take that. Take that. This is the only link between that studio and the outside world. A letterbox? What did Mr. Brushel just tell us? When he entered the studio on the night of the murder, the victim had just finished writing a letter. Yeah, I said that, and yeah, it was true. Furthermore, you went on to tell us that he put the letter in a yellow envelope and put it in the letterbox. Ah! But that very same letterbox was empty. In other words, that night the yellow envelope disappeared. Ah, yes, intriguing. So an envelope has disappeared from the scene of the crime. Of course, this changes nothing. He has a point, Mr. Justice. What we're trying to figure out here is how the poison got into Mr. Measham. Is it really important that this envelope the witness says he saw disappeared? I mean, to be honest, RC, I have no idea because it has been so long since I've been in any kind of school. But generally, English exams were mostly just writing essays, I feel like, after a while. Setting up citations, sources, you know. I got 10 years. You want to know when I graduated from high school, RC? I graduated from high school in 2006. So yeah, it's been a little while. Well, if it did disappear, then something did leave the studio that night. That seems very important to me. Very well then, the witness will add this to his testimony. You got it. Still think this fails to change anything, Air Forehead. Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't be so sure. A letter disappeared from the crime scene that night. This is exactly the opening I've been looking for. Sorry, there's still a little bit of coffee on the bottom. Hold it. Are you sure you didn't kiss him, Brushel? Did you kiss him, Brushel? Hold it. I thought saying that other stuff would trigger it. You sure about that? Well, to be really, really precise, I was busy gobbling mint candies the whole time. One of those candies might have been poisoned. Yet at the time of the autopsy, no fresh fragrance of mint filled the room, and no mint residue was found. It was a long shot anyway. Don't tell me you're still trying to prove this. You think the victim ate, drank, or otherwise ingested something other than the coffee? Well, Mr. Justice, if you have some proof. Possibilities there, I feel it. Just maybe not that I can prove. I bet it was his brush. Oh no, the stamp. Oh, if you had to mail something and he had to lick the stamp, possibility isn't gonna cut it, not now. Mr. Measham ingested that poison via a route other than the coffee. I can prove it. You don't know? Well, that would be, I don't know how your school system works, but for us, it's basically 9th through 10th grade, which would be like, because you have like primary school, and then they have like intermediate schools in some places here, which is like 4th through 7th grade or 8th grade. And then 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th are high school. But I also finished school a little bit faster since I was born in July. I was younger than other students when I started, because there's like usually a minimum age or something, but I think if you're born in a certain month, they're like, okay, well, that's good enough. Probably preparatoria then, because Universidad, that's college, right? That's what you're doing right now. Yeah, here's... Why are you doing a guitar riff in the middle of my presentation, sir? You do understand what we need, yeah? Proof, Air Forehead, not possibilities. Of course, and Prosecutor Gavin, I hope you understand. I'm ready to give you that proof. But what did you say? I have proof of the disappearing envelope. I saw him writing a letter, I did. We might. Which was picked up by the mailman, I assume. Of course, which means that envelope had a stamp on it. A stamp? As we all know, stamps come with dried glue on the back. In order to use the glue, you have to wet it by licking the stamp. Make that stamp wet. No one worth talking to actually licks stamps in this day and age. Even if you wanted to talk to him, you couldn't. He's dead after all. Okay, so he licked the stamp, but wait. How does that explain the atropine on the rim of the coffee mug? You dumbass. If he licked the back of a poisoned stamp, the poison would get on his tongue, yes? What would then happen if he put the coffee mug to his mouth, Those traces on the mug weren't the killer's doing. It was the other way around. What? The coffee mug didn't poison Mr. Measham. Mr. Measham poisoned the coffee mug himself. Order! Order! But that doesn't... does it? Recall, if you would. Atroquinine is a slow-acting poison, yes? The poison entered his body when he put the stamp on that envelope, but his time wasn't up until the very moment he touched his lips to that cup of joe. Okay. You have something to add, Mr. Brushel? Uh-oh, his nose is picking up another scent. As I believe I mentioned earlier. Well, that's the thing. See, after he put his letter in that envelope, Mr. Measham sat there searching his desk drawer for something. Yes, a stamp, a so-called postage stamp, end quote. But you know, I don't seem to remember him ever finding one. Maybe he'd just run out? Incidentally, we searched the desk drawer at the scene of the crime. There were no stamps, not a single one. That does pose a problem. How will you prove that the stamp was coated with poison? Actually, I'm glad no other stamps were found. It makes proving the stamp he used was poisoned possible. Good show, good show. You can't even prove there was a stamp at the scene in the first place. Well, let's hear what the defense has to say anyway. Where's your evidence that proves the existence of this poison stamp? I don't know, maybe this super tiny frame? Take that. Take that. Take that. Yay! These birds are shut up, so it's 1 a.m. Wait, what birds? Do you guys have like a specific variant over there that's being annoying? Also, Lash, welcome on in. Thank you so much for the raid. How are you doing? How is stream? We're currently puzzling over Apollo Justice and poison, and also a really creepy reporter man. Welcome, Ronan. How are you guys doing today? I hope that you had a good stream. I think I already just said that, but I said it again. I know you just hear them. Yeah, it's too early for birds. Birds shouldn't be up until at least like 5 a.m. or something. Oh, it's okay, Ellie. We're just gonna have to kill him. Oh, you 100? I was about to say, like, I thought that you would have been done with it by now. But yeah, you 100%ed. Holy crap. Well, congratulations on that. Was it worth it? Well, I guess it depends on the person on whether or not it's worth it, but you seemed like you were really enjoying the game, so. You're done with it by now? Yeah. Nice. Well, I'm glad it went well. Shit. Congratulations. Now, oh man. Now you can move on to the next game. There's so much stuff that's like coming out lately too, and I don't have like any of it, but it's fine. Cat is old and can't murder them anymore, so maybe that's why you always, maybe. They're not scared of him anymore. Poor guy. Well, that is certainly a cute little frame, and by little, I mean really little. It was on the victim's desk, Your Honor. Quite empty, as you can see for yourself. I noticed that too during my inspection. So what? Oh, apparently you weren't as observant as you should have been. You see, when you saw this frame, it was missing something quite important. Missing something? Yes, a pale bluish stain on the inside of the frame. Atroquinin residue! What? Why wasn't I told about this? I don't know, because you suck? The frame is only 2 inches square. The face of the frame is even smaller. Maybe 1 inch wide at the most. You aren't saying. Oh, but I am. Sorry, I was trying to... Tell me, what fits in such a small frame? A commemorative stamp? Maybe? I actually have stamps. The stamps are not very big. These are the Forever USA stamps because in America, we like to have stamps that are us. We like us a lot. Who knew? I'm really sad though, because I'm bringing this back up. But I also got a bunch of international stamps because I needed to send letters out to people internationally. And I found out if you buy the stamps at the kiosk, at the post office, it prints out a bunch of these super boring stamps. They're literally just little QR codes that say they're worth $1.20. Whereas you can actually get nice international stamps that have like flowers and things on them at the counter. But there were like 30 people in line, so I opted for boring printed out international stamp. Little trivia for you. Hello, Super Hot Mew. How are you doing? Welcome on in. Yeah, cat. I want to get a cat. I talked to some people and I was like, you know what? I kind of want to get a cat, but we have dogs here that are not good with any other animals. So I was like, maybe I'll get something small. Like, I don't know, like a turtle or a tortoise or a frog. Frogs are kind of cool. I don't know. I've been thinking about that. Yeah, I asked her that earlier, RC. I'm not sure if her dad let her or not. Welcome to Ace Attorney Hell. Yeah, honestly, I'm going to say Apollo Justice has not been my favorite entry. There's been a lot going on, but like, a lot of, like in the last episode that I did, there were like 50,000 flashbacks, unskippable flashbacks, because you're watching the same video over and over again. And also Trucy gets kind of annoying with the fact that she repeats the same thing like 30,000 times. Part of it might just be I'm nostalgic for the first 3, where you see a lot of the same characters. And even though I didn't like Wendy Oldbag and a few other people, but yeah, I don't know. There's just something about it that's not so, It's just upset you didn't get to, no, I don't want to watch it anymore. I never want to see that video ever again. You say, okay, but you guys see, okay, well, ask him again. Okay, anyway, but yeah. Yeah, no, you have a good one. Thank you so much for stopping by. I will do my best. I mean, so far this trial hasn't been as bad, even if the defendant is terrible, but it's okay. Order, order, order. The poison stamp was in this frame. Impossible. Prosecutor Gavin? Why would he put something like that on his desk? Don't tell me he had it there so he could commit suicide if the mood struck. You know, can I say something? I had a thought, see? Oh, what, Mr. Brushland? Please stop jittering around like that. The victim was a forger, right? There's a lot of money in that line of work. Forger forges friends, makes enemies too, end quote. So the poison stamp might have been a murder weapon aimed at him. Okay, Gavin, I really hate your dumb flourishes. I really do. Oh, Rich, that's rich. Leave the ridiculous flights of fancy to the Gaviner's song lyrics, please. All right, have a good one, Ellie. Sleep well. Hopefully the birds shut up long enough for you to fall asleep. Finally, something we agree on. The stamp was a murder weapon? Nonsense. Murder is a simple business. Who would go to such lengths? No one. Oh, I disagree. Come again? He's sleeping. Wait, why is your dad sleeping? Is he taking a nap? It's daytime. Recall, if you would, the victim's reclusive lifestyle. Drew Misham hid from the world. He avoided meetings. His only contact with the outside world was the mail. The mail! Now, if you wanted to kill someone you couldn't meet, but you knew read letters, a stamp would be the perfect weapon. Ridiculous. Where's your proof? I want proof. Show us evidence that this poison stamp was sent to him as a murder weapon. Might not have evidence, per se, but things are finally starting to come together. What is it, Apollo? Your fists are trembling. I think I know what happened. I don't believe it, but I can see it. I think I know how Mr. Measham was killed. He tired because he got, oh, okay, I gotcha. Oh yeah, it is bedtime. It is late for you. Well, me and Anna are in the same time zone. Although, like literally everybody else speaking in chat right now is in the future. Yeah, have a good one, Lash. Thank you once again for the raid. And I'm glad that you were able to 100% East 9. And I'm glad you had a lot of fun with it. They just keep making good games. Well, fill us in, Mr. Justice. A certain piece of evidence points to the truth, Your Honor. I can show you how someone with the intent to kill sent Mr. Measham the stamp. Where did the rocket end up landing? Oh, did it? I have no idea. I didn't actually pay attention to that. Someone with the intent to kill sent a stamp. What would I show them? Oh, wait. Was the stamp on? Was there a stamp on this? Is there? Try this then. Take that. Take that. Isn't this the envelope, the one from 7 years ago? Think about the text of the letter again. I would if it wasn't so bad. Okay, so it says, there are 2 pages in the envelope. This is page 1. Yeah, deposited. Page 2. And this is page 2. It says, sign the papers and send in enclosed envelope with the enclosed stamp within so many days. I need not remind you to speak of this to no one. Okay. It's very pixely. I want to draw your attention to one phrase in particular. Send in the enclosed envelope with the enclosed stamp within 3 days. The enclosed stamp, Your Honor. In other words, if I have this straight, the stamp, poison on the stamp, lick, lick, gasp, end quote. Stop sniffing. Now, what if he had done exactly as the letter asked? He would sign the document, put it in the envelope, and put the stamp on it, right? Then he would put it in his letterbox. 15 minutes wouldn't have elapsed between affixing the stamp and mailing the letter. But the clock started ticking, and when the time came, he drew his last breath. And the murder weapon would be taken away from the scene. Quite conveniently, thanks to the postal system. Wow. Nice. Let's see. Such a splendid imagination you have, Forehead. 14 hours ago. Did they have an update? I don't know if it actually landed. It just said soon. Oh, live. Chinese rocket tracker. Is it actually live? 18. Speed of alchemy scientists still do not know yet when it will fall, but likely to do so before May 10th, which is tomorrow. So maybe it hasn't fallen yet. Tomorrow is actually when I get my second shot too. So that's cool, right? Yay. Anyway, let me confirm one thing with you, if I might. So this poison stamp was inside this envelope from 7 years ago, yeah? Is that what you'd have us believe? Really? Well, it's a little bit of a stretch, but there's a possibility. Yes, a very small possibility. How small, I wonder? A poison stamp in this envelope? A stamp that then became the murder weapon? How do you intend to prove this seeming coincidence? Well, 7 years ago, and we don't even know who sent that letter. And your answer is silence. I see. Very well, I move to... It's not nice to pick on the Fraulein, Clavier. Hey, look at that! It's what? Emma? It's Emma, okay. Why would it show Gavin? Well, like my Christoph Gavin impression? Did I sound like him? Don't quit your day job. Don't you have a crime scene to be looking after, Fraulein Detective? Someone had to come dig you out of the mess you're making of this case. Mess? You know, none of this would happen if you just trusted in science a little more. You can find out that if that stamp was in that envelope, easy. Care to explain yourself, Fraulein Detective? Or Fräulein? Blare at me all you want, but science is on my side. It's all in the residue, right? That's right, the poison detection spray. Produce the red envelope at once. You can open it on the authority of the court. Oh! Well, would you look at that? No mistaking it. That's atroquinine residue. Yeah, what now? Fucking Clavier. I don't believe it. A murder weapon from the past. Now, 7 years later, it bears its fangs at last. Nice. Absolutely outrageous. Tell me why. Why didn't this murder take place 7 years ago? Well, there's one possibility. Maybe Mr. Misham figured it out. Figured what out? He realized that the person who sent the letter wanted him dead. So he sent his reply with a different stamp. And put his decisive evidence in a frame. Ugh, you're still here? That's how I feel. Can I make a statement here on the record? I, Spark Razortooth Brushel, claim this scoop is mine. Drew Misham killed in cold blood by sender of 7-year-old letter, end quote. No, maybe something more succinct. Star falls after 7-year delay, end quote. Can we just kill him? Order. I see no room for further argument here, though I admit this is all coming as quite a shock. To think that the murder weapon reached his mouth after 7 years. Stamp his ticket straight to afterlife, end quote. Uh-oh, I think the witness is a bad influence on our judge. Everybody's a bad influence on him. I see no need for further debate on this matter. The sender of that letter 7 years ago could hardly have been our defendant. Apollo! I think we just won. Very well, this court finds the defendant. Oh, come on. Is this the bright future of our legal system? Prosecutor Gavin? A ticket to the afterlife from 7 years ago? Ha! Tickets for Gavineer shows are invalid after 2 weeks. But it doesn't make sense any other way. It boggles my mind that so many people haven't noticed this. There's a fatal contradiction in Air Forehead's claim. A contradiction? A poison stamp was placed in this envelope 7 years ago, whereupon it was framed until now. If that's the case, then why would Drew Misham have done what he did? Emma explained that. He must have realized that it was poisoned. Therein lies the rub. 7 years ago, the forger Drew Misham sensed a trap and put the stamp in a frame. I do not debate this, but this begs the question. Why 7 years later did he use that stamp on the night of the murder? Also, hey, what's going on, Cuteliest? How are you doing? Thank you for the H2O. I hope you've been well. Good to hear. It's been good over here as well. Texas is starting to heat up, but nothing too bad yet. Yeah, it's been a pretty good day today. Well, I don't know, maybe he forgot. 7 years is a long time. I forget stuff after like an hour. Surely you don't mean to suggest that Mr. Misham simply forgot, yes? He put the murder weapon in a frame on his desk for 7 years and forgot? You expect us to believe he sprang the trap on himself? Oh, well, cool, Apollo. You were doing really good until then. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for asking. While I admit this is all quite shocking myself, it does seem highly unlikely that he would fall afoul of a trap that had been sitting on his desk for 7 years. Apollo! I don't think we're winning anymore. Huh, I'm glad to see we're all back in the real world now. Welcome back to reality. We've been waiting for you. Gosh, you're such a jerk. Okay, then how do you explain the poison stamp that was in this envelope? The poison stamp? Where exactly is the poison stamp again? Have you brought it to court for us? I see no proof that such a thing ever existed. What about the atroquinine residue, huh? Oh, I agree, that does seem to be atroquinine residue. But Air Forehead, it's certainly no stamp. Yeah, but even if your precious poison stamp did exist, Drew Misham never would have used it. That is all. Ugh. Man, why you gotta be so jerky? I believe we've come to a conclusion again. Apollo, we were wrong the whole time? I can't believe it. Poison traces match up. It can't be coincidence. I'd like to bring some closure to this issue sometime this year. Mr. Justice? Yes, Your Honor. Let's review the facts and see where we stand. 7 years ago, Drew Misham received a red envelope. There were traces of the poison atroquinine on the document inside that envelope. A similar trace was also found at the crime scene, on this tiny picture frame. The defense has indicated that the possibility of a yellow envelope, an envelope that left the scene of the crime with the poison stamp on it. Yes, but even if this envelope contained a poison stamp, and Drew Misham, knowing this, put it in a frame, he never would have used that stamp. I'm afraid you're right, which means there's a fatal flaw in the defendant's case. Haven't been on the wrong track the whole time, I'm sure of it. The traces of atroquinine, the envelope, the frame, and Drew Misham's mysterious death. They're all connected somehow. Well, Mr. Justice, do you have a conclusion for us? The defense stands by its case, Your Honor. We've seen that the logical outcome of the evidence makes no sense, which means that one of our clues must be a fake. Ah, fake clue? Fascinating. And if we find this fake, your wild fantasies will prove quite reasonable, yeah? The fake clue that's thrown us off this poison's trail is none other than... The victim was a fake clue. I'm afraid I don't understand. I'll explain. We have an envelope, a frame, and a mug linked by poison. That all makes sense. What doesn't make sense is the victim himself. Congratulations, you've completely lost me. So the fake evidence is none other than the master of fake himself, the forger? Makes a good story, I'll give you that. The fake clue, fakes, forgeries. Aha! I know that face, that's the I just had an idea face. I don't know if I'm right, but I'm going with it anyway. What if our forger is the fake? Come again? 7 years ago, our forger sniffed a trap and stepped aside. 7 years passed. Now the forger stumbles into that very same trap and dies. Why? That's what I want to know. Because the forger who was killed was a fake. Here we are again. The victim was a fake. One forger smelled the trap. One forger fell into the trap. That's 2 forgers, and one of them was a fake. Okay, I'm starting to get a little bit lost too, but... Order, order, order. So you're telling us that Drew Misham, the victim, was a fake? Well, if he was a fake, who was the real forger? You better not be claiming there's some kind of switcheroo. I'm afraid you're going to have to back up your story. Mr. Justice, show us just who the real Drew Misham was. If Drew Misham wasn't the real forger, there's only one other person it could have been. Understood, Your Honor. Forger Drew Misham was himself a forgery. The real forger was the only other person in there. Take that. Can only be one explanation, really. The real identity of the forger, known as Drew Misham, is none other than his only daughter, Vera Misham. The fake from the fake is the fake, then it must be the fake that makes fake. So yeah, it's fake. It's totally fake. You know what? You understand. You get the truth getting. Jesus. His only daughter, Vera Misham. Yeah. Oh, okay, yeah, order. Mr. Justice, this is going out on a limb even for you. Kinda agreeing. I mean, Vera, a forger. Let's consider it before you write it off entirely. If you look at the paintings in the studio, one fact becomes quite clear. Forgery had been taking place in that studio for quite some time. The forger wasn't caught in that trap 7 years ago. This can only mean that the one who was caught in the trap wasn't the forger. Well, actually, that does make a certain kind of sense. Well, you think everything makes sense, Judge, or doesn't make sense. You also don't know what cell phones are. One more thing. Only 2 sets of fingerprints were found in the forger's studio. Drew Misham's and Vera Misham's. If we know that Drew Misham wasn't the forger, that leaves only one possibility by process of elimination. The forger was Vera Misham. Well, come man, why does it gotta do this every time? Fascinating. Yeah, can we get this stick figure off the stage, please? Vera Misham? You've been paying attention to the trial so far. Let's just ask her and be done with it, shall we? Who are you? Who is the forger, Drew Misham? Was that an expression of emotion I saw on her face? She's staring holes into Prosecutor Gavin's face. I'm used to being stared at by Fräulein, believe me. He says that's Fräulein's. Lines, whatever, goddamn. Languages are hard, and that's offensive anyway, apparently. So stop saying it, Clavier. I know this came out in a different time, 2007, but still. Though they usually talk to me, too. Tell us, were you the one who forged those works of art? Yes. Do you only know how to draw one smiley face? So the forger, Drew Misham, was you? Yes, it was me. What? What? The court was in an uproar and it wasn't coming down. We had to break for 10-minute recess. Holy crap. Yes, please, let's save. Jeez, there's so much happening right now. Oh, okay, let's end this recording.